Yesterday, I had an inquiry from a lady who has her 80-year-old mother in ICU for 5 weeks after a motor vehicle accident on a ventilator with a tracheostomy. And she asks if her mum can go home. My name is Patrick Hutzel from intensivecareathome.com. And this is another video for our clients and for anyone interested in what we are doing as an intensive care at home nursing service. So yesterday, I had a call from a lady who has her 80-year-old mum in ICU for 5 weeks. Here's the situation. She was in a high-speed motor vehicle accident. She sustained numerous injuries, no brain injury, no head injury. So she sustained abdominal injuries, leg and arm fractures, but that was all surgically repaired. And she's now slowly but surely on the mend. But because of her significant injuries, she has not been able to be weaned off a ventilator and a tracheostomy. So she obviously had a tracheostomy after a couple of weeks in ICU. And, the intensive care team now says that because she's too weak to be weaned off the ventilator, she should just die. And it's not worth having quality of life if she was to survive and there's no quality of life. And obviously with intensive care at home, there is quality of life. There's definitely no quality of life in an intensive care unit. I mean, I have worked in critical care for 25 years in 3 different countries before I set up intensive care at home, right? So I have seen those patients in ICU. I've seen hundreds of them over the years when I worked in ICU, which is what led me to found intensive care at home, to have an option for long-term ventilated patients with tracheostomy. So for an intensive care team to claim that a patient won't have any quality of life because they're on a ventilator with a tracheostomy is nonsense. And it's simply not the case. Intensive care teams just need to broaden their horizon and need to look at what's happening in the community with our clients across the board. We have plenty of case studies on our website at intensivecareathome.com that showcase how quality of life can be improved for patients with ventilation and tracheostomy at home instead of an ICU. And, it's a no-brainer, really. And like I said, quality of life will be improved at home for patients and also, most importantly, for families, because, this poor family is more or less living in ICU to be with their mum. And that can be all changed to a home care environment. And obviously, this lady is asking what else needs to happen besides the nursing care. Of course, there may be some modifications needed for remodeling the house. An OT, an occupational therapist needs to be involved. A physiotherapist needs to be involved, so that the right equipment can be organized at home. And also the right rehabilitation can be organized at home, and that ventilation weaning can be organized at home as well. With this particular inquiry, it's in one of the states in Australia. So because it was a motor vehicle accident, home care will most likely be covered by the motor vehicle insurance, right? That's in all states. And we have got a number of clients that have been, unfortunately, in motor vehicle accidents. And, the insurance payment or the insurances, whether it's the TAC in Victoria, whether it's iCare in New South Wales, NIISQ in Queensland, whether it's the Lifetime Support Authority in South Australia, or whether it's the Insurance Commission of Western Australia. They are the organizations that, insure people that have been in severe motor vehicle accidents and, that are catastrophically injured, but there is funding there. We have engaged with many of those organizations across the board. So, and here's the win-win out of this. Number one, patients and families want to go home when they can't be weaned off the ventilator and the tracheostomy. If they want to go home, they obviously need critical care nurses at home 24 hours a day in order to leave ICU and in order to leave the hospital. That is actually evidence-based, and you can look that up on our mechanical home ventilation guidelines at intensivecareathome.com. That's the win for families because they do want to go home. Also, in this particular instance, the lady that's inquiring, their mother is waking up. So for the intensive care team to say, oh, she should just die, because she won't have any quality of life. Well, the family is saying that, they asked her whether they want to fight for her, whether they should keep fighting for her and advocating for her. And she said clearly yes. So why doesn't the intensive care team ask the lady herself if she's awake now and she's coming out of the coma? So ask the lady what she wants, if she wants to go home, and make it a choice, and don't make decisions about who should live and die without actually involving the patient themselves, right? That should be common human decency, right? But here is clearly what's in it for the ICU as well. ICUs need the beds. ICU beds are in very short supplies. So, by us taking this lady home, we free up an ICU bed. And from a cost perspective, an ICU bed costs between $5,000 to $6,000 per bed day, right? And intensive care at home is about 50% of that cost, right? So it's a win-win situation. And the ICU will have an empty bed because ICU beds are in high demand. It's the most sought after bed in a hospital. So, it's a win-win situation. And also hospitals are mandated to partner with consumers. That's part of the accreditation standards. So from a consumer perspective, partnering with consumers, what is more about the consumer-centric approach? Advocating to let a patient die, or advocating to let a patient go home and live quality of life at home? Also, what's the urgency? Where's the urgency to kill someone? Please explain that to me. Where's the rush to kill someone? If a service like intensive care at home can provide a similar service to ICU at home, So please explain to me why the ICU is in a rush to kill someone, right? And even if they won't survive, which doesn't seem, and it sounds like this lady will survive, but even if she won't survive, there's plenty of time to talk about end of life and plenty of time to provide end of life care at home, right? So one way or another, it's a win-win situation what we are providing. So I hope that clarifies, how to, and illustrates, how to steer this, what is a reasonably complex territory, but we simplify things, and we have set up so many 24-hour rosters at home for our clients, instead of them living in intensive care, we can do the same here. So with intensive care at home, we are currently sending our critical care nurses into the home 24 hours a day. Therefore, we are providing a genuine alternative to a long-term stay in intensive care for ventilation, tracheostomy, home BiPAP, home CPAP, ventilation without tracheostomy, and tracheostomy care without ventilation, home TPN, home IV potassium infusions, and home IV magnesium infusions, IV fluids, and IV antibiotics. We're also providing cough assist management at home, ventilation weaning at home. We're also providing central line, PICC line, Hickman's line, as well as port management at home. We're also providing nasogastric tube and PEC tube management at home, as well as palliative care management at home. We're also sending our critical care nurses into the home for emergency department bypass services. We have done so successfully as part of the Western Sydney Local Area Health District, their In Touch program, saving approximately $2,000 per patient that we keep at home instead of them going to an emergency department. That means we're also in a position to cut the cost of an intensive care bed by around 50%. An intensive care bed costs between $5,000 to $6,000 per bed day. Intensive care at home costs around $2,500 to $3,000 per bed day, which is basically only 50% of the cost. And we're freeing up the most sought after bed in the hospital, which is the ICU bed. Most importantly, we're improving the quality of life for patients and their families, which is a win-win situation for all stakeholders. And also, we're providing evidence-based services, which you will find on our mechanical home ventilation guidelines. Like I said, this is evidence-based. Intensive care at home services have been around for over 25 years in Germany and in Australia, mainly, predominantly. And the evidence is there that long-term intensive care patients can safely go home with 24-hour intensive care nursing. With intensive care nurses having a minimum of 2 years critical care nursing experience. With intensive care at home, we are currently operating all around Australia in all major capital cities, as well as in all regional and rural areas. We're an NDIS-approved service provider all around Australia, TAC and WorkSafe in Victoria, iCare in New South Wales, NIISQ, as well as the Department of Veteran Affairs all around Australia. Our clients and we as a service provider have also received funding through public hospitals, private health funds, as well as departments of health. We are the only service provider in Australia that has achieved third-party accreditation for intensive care at home nursing in 2025. We have been achieving this high level of accreditation since 2012. No other provider has achieved this high level of accreditation in the community and has created more intellectual property for intensive care at home nursing than we have. This puts us in a position to employ hundreds of years of critical care nursing experience combined in the community. No other service provider in 2025 employs a higher skill level in the community than we do, and that enables us to look after the highest acuity adults and children in the community in Australia safely. If you're at home already and you're watching this, or if you're stuck in an ICU and you realize that you don't have the right level of support, I'll give you a very tangible and real-world example today how we can help. One of our first clients when we got started over 10 years ago in 2012 was a client who was at home initially on a ventilator with a tracheostomy with the support worker model 24/7. Of course, disability support workers are dangerous and it's negligent having support workers look after a client at home on a ventilator with a tracheostomy. That is like flying the airplane with the cabin crew instead of the pilot. Because anyone on a ventilator with a tracheostomy is at very high risk of medical emergencies or is at very high risk of dying if they don't have a stable team of critical care nurses looking after them 24/7. Once again, this is actually evidence-based in the community and is documented in our mechanical home ventilation guidelines that you can find on our website at intensivecarehome.com. Think about it. In intensive care, in a hospital, you wouldn't have support workers looking after a critical care patient on a ventilator with a tracheostomy. So why would anyone in their right mind would do that in a home care environment where you have fewer resources than in a hospital? So eventually, this client found out about us, and the intensive care unit that he was living in found out about us. And we were proving our concept with this ventilated and tracheostomy client very fast. When we worked with this ventilated and tracheostomy client, we sent him intensive care nurses 24 hours a day, and he never went back into ICU ever again. And we were proving our concept there very fast. We can do the same for you if you're not safe at home, which includes the advocacy for funding that goes along with it, which ties in with today's topic. We have always successfully advocated for our clients, otherwise we would not be in business. The same is applicable for those stuck in an ICU, similar to many of our cases that we discuss here, and to what you are looking for today with the case that I discussed. So, you can reach out to us, we can help you there. We'll make it happen for you as well. We will take you through the right steps. This is also why we're providing level 2 and level 3 NDA support coordination. We have a team of NDA support coordinators and they have a wealth of knowledge. I've done an interview with Amanda Riches, one of our NDA support coordinators, and I'll put a link to an interview with Amanda in the written version of this blog below the video. We're also providing TAC case management and WorkSafe case management in Victoria with Lucy McCotter. And if you are an NDA support coordinator or a case manager from another organization watching this, and you're looking for nursing care for your participants, please reach out to us as well. If you're looking for funding for nursing care for your participants and you don't know how to go about it and how to advocate for it or what evidence to provide, I encourage you to reach out to us as well. We will help you with the right level of funding and with the right level of advocacy. We're also providing NDI specialist nursing assessments done by critical care nurses with a legal nurse consulting background. If you are a critical care nurse and you're looking for a career change and you want to join a very progressive, dynamic and high-performing team of critical care nurses, we're employing hundreds of years of critical care nursing experience combined. If you're looking for a career change, we are currently hiring for jobs for critical care nurses in Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane, in Albury, Wodonga, in Sydney, Brisbane, also in Bendigo and in Geelong and in Warragul in Victoria. If you have worked in critical care nursing for a minimum of 2 years, pediatric ICU, ED, and you have already completed a postgraduate critical care nursing qualification, we will be absolutely delighted hearing from you. I have a disclaimer though, because we are offering a tailor-made solution for our clients, which includes regular staff. Our clients also do want the same staff coming over and over again because they are so vulnerable and so special, and that's why we need regular staff. So if you're looking for agency work where you can come and go, this will not be the right fit for you. We are looking for consistency and our clients are looking for consistency. So please only apply with us if you can give us regular and consistent availabilities for shifts and you're really keen on building relationships with us and with our clients. If you are an intensive care specialist or an ED specialist, we also want to hear from you. We're currently expanding our medical team as well. We can also help you eliminate your bed blocks in your ICU and in your ED for your long-term patients, or for your regularly readmitting patients with our critical care nursing team at home. We're here to help you take the pressure off your ICU and ED beds. And in most cases, you won't even pay for it. Even if you do pay for it, it is so much more cost-effective than what you're paying for in ICU and ED for, and you get the same level of care and simply more patient and family satisfaction. If you're a hospital executive watching this and you have bed blocks in your ICU, ED, and respiratory wards, home TPN, please reach out to us as well. We can help you eliminate your bed blocks very fast. If you're in the US or in the UK and you're watching this and you need help, we want to hear from you as well. We can help you there privately with one-on-one consulting and with hiring nurses privately. Once again, our website is intensivecareathome.com. Call us on one of the numbers on the top of our website or simply send us an email to info@intensivecareathome.com. And if you like my videos, subscribe to my YouTube channel for regular updates for families with intensive care at home and intensive care. Click the like button, click the notification bell, share this video with your friends and families, and comment below what you want to see next and what you think about this video. Thank you so much for watching. This is Patrick Hutzel from intensivecareathome.com, and I will talk to you in a few days. Take care for now.